AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride! Woo!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You. Ooh. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Shea Dixon in 15 minutes. Toby Rowland is the radio voice of the Oklahoma Sooners. He'll be here in hour number 2. Zach Brazier? Braziller?
I don't think it's Brazier.
Braziller?
No.
Braziller?
I mean, Braziller is how it's spelled.
Braziller?
Braziller.
He's going to talk about one of the 26-year-old transfers that Will Wade has coming in, who's like a former Big East Player of the Year, who's been playing pro basketball for like the Jazz and the Celtics, but now is coming back into college because that's what we do now in college, or at least here.
Yeah, at least here. That's like half the class.
What is happening? All right. Hit the show open, Muse.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right. Every season, there's always some version of this show where you wake up on a day and you know your season could end. And today is that day for LSU baseball. And every time they take the field for the rest of this week, however long that is, it could be the day that their season ends. And that's always a little nerve-wracking, but typically this is in regional, super regional, or Omaha. And there's just different stakes. Now, LSU is just trying to extend their season a day on a hope and a prayer to be able to get into regional play. And, Jay Johnson was a guest on Feinbaum yesterday and basically compared this week to College World Series.
I sent a text to the staff kind of outlining the next, 48 hours. And, when we're talking about preparing for Oklahoma, this is our Omaha this year. And, this is the postseason experience, unless we win 5 games in a row, that the returning players will have. So we need to, again, create as much value out of that as we possibly can. We're treating tomorrow night's game like Game 3 of the championship series.
So tomorrow, of course, is today. Now, that was Feinbaum on Monday when Jay had gotten to there to Hoover. So he's treating today like Game 3 of the College World Series, so as to say, you don't leave any bullets left in the gun. If your starting pitcher is struggling in the first inning and you're down, you have to go make a change because there is no tomorrow if you don't win today. So you have to be all in to win today. So it's going to be William Schmidt against Gavin Jones. And this pitching matchup kind of illustrates the contrasting approaches that Jay Johnson and Skip Johnson took this past weekend. Skip Johnson is still with Oklahoma trying to earn their way into regional play. They're 14-16. That should be good enough to get them an at-large berth in the NCAA tournament. And a win in Hoover would solidify it, but it's probably inconsequential at this point. At 14-16, Oklahoma is very likely in. Jay Johnson knew last weekend against Florida just didn't matter a lick for the regionals. And I would imagine for Jay Johnson, that might be the first time in his career as a college coach that he coached a quote-unquote meaningless game, a game that had just no postseason implications whatsoever. So I'm sure that was uncomfortable last weekend for Jay Johnson, knowing he was going out there without his best every day because he had to have his best for this week, and that starts today. So it's William Schmidt, who they held against Florida. Schmidt, just if you contrast the two starting pitchers, Schmidt, 64 innings pitched on the season, 85 strikeouts, 31 walks. Obviously, the walk total has been too high. He's going against Gavin Jones. Gavin Jones does not have a record on the season. He's got an ERA of 6. He's thrown just 20 1/3 innings, 19 strikeouts, 13 walks, so command has been a problem for Gavin Jones. The scouting report on Jones, got a good fastball, 93-97. He's got a plush changeup, but his breaking ball stinks. So spit on the breaking ball, sit fastball, changeup, and see if you can make some hay against the guy that basically is a good, not great lefty reliever. The fact that LSU's best guy is going today against a good, not great reliever from Oklahoma kind of tells you the story. I would assume with a lefty on the bump, at least to start for Oklahoma, the regulars that'll be in there. Curry will be in center. Braun will be at first. Ruckert will be at second. I think the question is, do you load up the lineup with righties? Obviously, Milam turns around to the right side with the lefty on the bump. Aaron Beatty and Cern will be in the lineup. One will DH, one will catch. I would guess Pearson to be at third. Patrick and Stanfield will be your other outfielders that load your lineup with righties. And if you need lefties, you could certainly go that way. You've got other right-handed options with Yaman and Simpson, but let's just be honest at this point, you're not testing and theorizing with Yaman and Simpson. You're going with your best guys, and that's likely what Jay's going to do. For what it's worth, Gavin Jones did throw against LSU earlier this season. He threw in the third game of the series. He came in with 1 out in the 5th inning and faced 4 hitters. He gave up a hit, he walked a guy, and then recorded 2 outs. So Gavin Jones on the bump today against LSU as the Tigers try to keep their season alive for another day. If LSU does win, they would advance to take on Auburn on Wednesday in another elimination game. Paul, what is wrong with this photo? Is that what is that reflection? Can we take that off? Sorry, that's just really distracted me. What is that? No, for real. What was that? Was that just a?
That was just the actual photo.
That's so weird. Did you notice that was like a reflect? It's like sometimes when you take a photo of your TV and the living room is reflecting against your TV.
Yeah,
that's what that looked like. Anyway. Jay, we'll talk a little bit more about what Jay had to say with Paul Feinbaum. Hopefully it doesn't get to this until we're, much deeper into the off season. But, at least past this week. But Jay was also asked by Feinbaum how he would characterize how this season has gone for this baseball team.
Looking at it in its totality, from the outside, how could something like this happen, to a team or a program like ours? And it's really simple. There's a few injuries. There's a few things with the MLB draft. That's different than every other sport. We lost 8 recruits to the MLB draft that could have been on our team this year. And, some guys haven't maybe performed as well as we want them to, or maybe they're capable of. And it's kind of a combination of all that. With that being said, it doesn't make it easier playing in the best league in America, where every weekend you're playing a super regional. And no different than any other year. There's some really good teams and great programs in the SEC this year. And that's what you're tested and you're measured against. And we haven't quite been good enough this year.
Very honest assessment by Jay Johnson. See if the Tigers can extend their season by another day. It's LSU in Oklahoma. Scheduled for the first pitch tonight is at 8 o'clock there in Hoover on the SEC network. Obviously, we'll see if they are able to stay on time. Right now, they just went to commercial. But game 2 is going on right now with Kentucky and Vanderbilt. They're in the bottom of the 4th. Actually going to the top of the 5th now with Kentucky leading Vandy 3-1. Missouri advanced, beating Ole Miss 10-8 in the first game of the day. So we'll keep you posted. After this game with Kentucky and Vandy, they've still got South Carolina, Tennessee before LSU, Oklahoma. So buckle up. It'll very likely be a late night for the baseball Tigers. All right, it's after further review. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer your fighting Tigers of LSU, whether you're at the box, whether you're at Tiger Park, whether you're at the PMAC Tiger Stadium, your favorite restaurant, watering hole, or in your own backyard, or just having dinner and want a cold one. Make sure you drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light. Our friends over at Mockler Beverage, awesome people, great supporters of the Tigers, great supporters of our community, employ more than 200 people, 40 years in the biz. A great local family. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. All right, let me knock out a quick break. Every Tuesday, we chat with Shea Dixon from On3, the Bengal Tiger. Big blow for Lane Kiffin's recruiting class for 2027 when Joshua Dobson, the 5-star number 1 cornerback in America, a day ago, it was reported, will not take his official visit to LSU. Instead, he'll head to Michigan. What happened? We'll talk about it with Shea next on AFR.
AFR.
If you want to feel like your younger self, our friends over at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness can help you do that. Yes, they do ED treatments, but they do so much more than just ED treatments. Hormone replacement therapy. Men, if you're already on HRT, it's time to switch to Goodwood. They have the lowest prices, never any contracts. You're not paying any membership fee like some clinics charge you, and they pick up the cost for your blood labs. If you do those every 3 months, every 6 months, whatever it may be, they pick up the cost, so you will save money. It's the same product, and you're going to get the best prices on it at Goodwood. Why wouldn't you switch? YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com. And if you're interested in peptides, you've heard me talk about peptides. Every other ad you see in the world today is about peptides. I've been telling you about peptides quite literally for 2 years now. And my experience with things like NAD Plus and BPC 157, I get my peptides at Goodwood. You should as well. YourGoodwood.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Big shout out to Rooney, to Grace, to all our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Awesome peeps. Bunking below. You want a deer, you know where you're going. Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Every Tuesday, we talk to Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Talk a little Cruton. He joins us now. Yo, Shady, what up, bro?
I'm doing well. How are you, Matt?
Man, I'm doing awesome. Hey, there's a bunch of football stuff I want to get into. But first of all, you have a thought on Will Wade's basketball class he's building, or maybe an explanation of how he's able to get all these international guys that have been in pro ball and all this stuff?
Yeah, I think that it's clear one thing. The international to college route is one that's easier to take relative to the NCAA rules right now than attempting to get guys who have signed a professional contract in the States, to play in the NBA or play in the G League. And we've seen them in the headlines with a number of international guys. And Will Wade said this team is going to be heavy on older international players. So I think we have to kind of wait and see there kind of how it unfolds. But in the past couple of days, Matt, I think the bigger thing, right, is landing these transfers, or one transfer, I guess, in a UTSA guard, Austin Nunez, who probably is going to be a backup role for you, my guess is. But today, this RJ Luis news, you were talking about a guy who was the Big East Player of the Year just, a year ago, goes pro. A lot of people thought he shouldn't, ends up not getting drafted, signs a two-way deal, but never actually logs any minutes. And I think that's what they're going to lean on here. He signs with LSU, so they will take this to court, or at least go against battle the NCAA here for his eligibility to be reinstated for his final year. And look, we saw it play out with Bediako. At Bama. We've seen it play out with others, but the notable difference being those guys logged minutes in G League games or NBA games, and RJ Luis was hurt and didn't. Now, the NCAA rules just say if you sign a pro contract in the NBA, you've exhausted your eligibility, and that's how they stood by it. But clearly, if Wade's been going after this for about a month plus now, they feel like they've got some sort of shot to push it through.
Okay. We'll keep an eye on that with RJ Lewis, who is he's signed or committed, Shay?
It was reported signed. I think
Okay.
either way, right? It's like you're playing this waiting game to find out what happens with the court case.
Okay. All right. A lot that I want to get into here because Lane Kiffin and his staff are clearly still looking to add for 26, and there was some pretty significant 27 news. Let's start with the 26 guys that were visiting. I want to ask you about Ian Ray, the edge who visited this weekend. It sounds like it went well. Can you give us the bio on Ray for those that aren't familiar and how that's looking?
Yeah, this is a guy who popped up late, very late, right? We're after spring ball here and had been in the portal, had re-entered the portal after initially entering it, but had not signed anywhere and said that he's still looking around. He's been at Emory and Henry, so he's playing D2 ball, but visited Vandy, got a Vandy offer, got offered by LSU, got brought in for a visit, and said everything went well. But just based off of what I've heard so far, it seems like they might not feel they have as pressing a need at that edge spot as they did with the corner position when they had brought in a handful of visitors. This is the only edge rusher we saw them bring in, and maybe the only guy who's really out there. But he left. He hasn't committed anywhere, not Vandy, not LSU. So I'm told he's going to keep exploring his options. At the same time, I'd expect LSU probably to just keep moving along forward here. And if a late addition pops up, great. If not, Aiden Andy got hurt in spring ball, and that's when you presented this idea of Lane Kiffin of, hey, look, when one backup went down, it really drove home this reality that we don't have a lot of depth there. Well, their top target at corner was the first guy they brought in and got a commitment out of that very first weekend. And then we saw other visitors. So even if you don't add any more JUCO corners, I think adding Levante Williams early on out of Georgia Military Academy at JUCO at least fills Anding's role after. What did he suffer, Matt? I think you reported it. Was it a torn Achilles that Anding suffered? But, so he'll be sidelined. So you've at least got one guy into that void left by a player like Anding, who was battling, for a backup role in the two deep.
Did they have, I know we talked about it last week, Shea, but weren't they expecting one or two more JUCO corner visitors this past weekend?
They had, yes, and I think it was really one came in, didn't. His name's Javier Jones, ended up visiting and then ultimately didn't get offered, committed to Florida. And the other was a kid coming out of Itawamba. Gosh, why am I blanking on his name right now? Dylan Johnson. And he was down to LSU and NC State and was leaning LSU's way and then kind of reversed course to NC State. And I'm told he's kind of pressing pause on things and he's going to feel out his options and go forward from there. So kind of right now it's all quiet on the front there with relative to who else can they add before this upcoming season, which granted you are kind of at the end of the line here, bottom of, I don't want to make that sound bad, but bottom of the barrel in terms of portal guys. Most everyone is signed everywhere. And then JUCO is really your only other avenue to go find players that you can add to this year's roster.
So is, I guess to say, is it, are they good with where they are at corner with numbers and adding Levante Williams, or are they, maybe another way to ask it, Jay, is like, would they add someone just to add a warm body, or are they looking for something specific, a talent skill development level?
No, I think that they are good with where they at. I think with where they're at. I think Dylan Johnson out of Itawamba had the green light to commit, and certainly could have or could, or however that might unfold for him. But what I picked up on is they're not actively out there continuing that search just because they feel like that. Like Haven Finney, early enrolled, he looked great at the end of spring ball. You knew Jakeem Jackson was your third guy, and you got some others in that room. So, look, if you get to those guys anyways, that means something happened with Pickett and Woodland, and you're already in very bad shape, and nothing you're going to do right now depth-wise could fix that. So, I think they're probably okay for this season with just one addition.
Shea Dixon On3, the Bengal Tiger. He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon. You can follow him there. All right, Shea, the big news, a week ago, you and I talked about Will Fong moving his projection for Joshua Dobson to Texas A&M. Now we get the word a day ago that Dobson has canceled his official visit to LSU. Okay, what's going on?
Right. We're 7 months from signing day, and a school that had led for a lot of the way is now just not getting an official visit. And I think this is a case in point of the new era of college athletics when they talk about you're not going to be able to stack elite players at a position, let's just make it cornerback here, right? This is the example. I mean, you've got DJ Pickett on your roster right now as a number one corner coming out of high school, and he still has 2 more years left, right? So by the time Josh Dobson gets to campus, DJ Pickett would be a junior. He's in his biggest year, right? Relative to a money year, NFL future, all of that. Then you've got Haven Finney, who is unique here. Remember, he reclassified. So he was the number one corner in this class, moved ahead, got into an older group of guys, finished a little bit, outside that top handful of corners in the country. But you're also in this NIL world, Matt, where corner is a valued position like that. And if you're giving DJ Pickett, rightfully so, cornerback one type of NIL deals, then you've got so much faith in a guy like Haven Finney who's coming behind him. And I'm not skipping over PJ Woodland. He's just older than those guys. So this is, I'd guess, is probably his last year, and then he's going pro. But then you've got Finney. And then if he progresses like that, he's getting cornerback one type of NIL, offers. If it's not LSU, it's coming from somewhere else. So you do what you can to keep him. Can you then do that same thing with Dobson when those 2 other guys are still on the team? And I think it just got to a point where as more teams kind of continued to get in the race and say, here's what we can do, that LSU eventually says, hey, look, this is our pitch. This is Corey Raymond's development, kind of where things stand. And if not, we'll move on. And both parties did. And look, I don't think we can knock it. It's better that kind of stuff happens now than before signing day or gets kept quiet and you sort of get left at the altar. So an easy way for them to reset right now. You've already been on the road for a while. You've been recruiting other corners. So it's not like you're putting together a new board, but it is kind of odd to just say, hey, we've been recruiting this guy priority number one. And now 7 months before signing day, he's replacing us with a team that's really not even been in the mix and still has 4 or 5 official visits to come. But that's just kind of where we're at. And again, I think it's better to find that out now than later. And that's just the business side of college football when we're talking this really elite level, quarterback, cornerback, edge. If they're saying it's a lot like the NFL, those are the valued positions.
Shea, are there other corners that Corey Raymond and the staff are currently pursuing for 27?
Yeah, there are, and they've already had a handful of official visits scheduled. So while I would say, look, there's 3 kids probably in Texas that I'd keep a close eye on, and that includes Greedy James, who we had an article in the Bengal Tiger today about. Sam Spiegelman caught up with him. He's a Texas commit out of Manville, but has family in the New Orleans area. And he said Notre Dame and LSU have really been pushing hardest to get him flipped, and now he's going to official visit to both schools as well as the Longhorns. And there's some other kids over there, Shadow Creek, Katascasita, that have corners that they have a lot more corners at those 2 schools that have probably 10 kids that have college offers on those teams, but that they've been recruiting. And then down in Florida, Mekhi Williams, who's a safety, but 6'2", someone that Corey Raymond likes at corner. So he's one that we're keeping an eye on. He's Florida State's highest ranked commit, but he's been looking around. He's already going to take an LSU official visit. He's been making other visits. So I don't know how right now if FSU even has this sort of grip to keep guys like that when schools like LSU or Miami or others come calling. That's just odd for us to say, but that's just been where Florida State's been at in recent years. But then here's your prototypical one, Matt. Here's your perfect Corey Raymond corner is on the same day that this Josh Dobson news comes out publicly, which, look, LSU knew about this behind the scenes. They were set to go see him this week, and they're not. So, I mean, they knew how things were unfolding. I mean, when you have agents involved in all of that, it's not that much of a secret. You're having these discussions if you have to. But on the same day, he was seeing Marquez Davis, and I won't make you guess. He is in Opelousas, and I won't make you guess again, Matt. He's at Northwest. I don't even know if I can name anyone who's come out of Northwest, notably in the past decade, 2 decades in football. But this is a kid who is a 1,000+ point scorer in basketball already. He's 6'3", long arms.
I was about to say, let me guess, 6'3", 175.
Yep.
3-star, can flip his hips, really athletic. Basically, Corey's a ball of clay that he wants to mold into a future first-rounder.
You stole it all. I'll fill in the blanks. Unranked, no rankings, and he's got college basketball offers. Got some football offers as well, obviously. But a guy that even beyond that, he's been listed as a receiver, and that's what he primarily plays. But he plays both ways. And Corey was at his scrimmage yesterday and watching him, and he'll visit at the end of the month with his family. And I'm not going to be surprised at all if they don't try to just offer, get him committed, and get that done, because he's clearly one of. And there's always guys like that. I mean, you can remember, we're getting older, but it was yesterday when Mo Claiborne came out of Fair Park and he was not ranked. He was a 3-star at the end. He was playing every position, and you get into camp and you get a feel for it, and you decide, okay, I'm playing corner for sure. And then you look up and he's the number 6 pick in the NFL draft. So guys like that are here in Louisiana. And I think that that's who they're circling when you're pivoting off of, hey, we're trying not to get involved in the highest NIL wars out there. You go for development, and that's this type of player.
He's Shea Dixon, On3, the Bengal Tiger. We talk Cruton every week. Make sure you give him a follow at Shea Dixon. Shea, we appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good one, Matt.
All right, man. You do the same. It's after further review. I have some thoughts on what we just talked about there with Shea Dobson, the whole cornerback thing. We get to that in about 45 minutes from right now. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, or other harmful pathogens. It's mold remediation done right the first time. This is more effective. It's more cost-effective. It's more efficient. I mean, they can come in and fog your home in like half a day. So you're out at work, perfect. Parish will come in, spray their patented non-toxic dry fog, close up all the windows and doors. They'll let the fog dwell. As soon as it dissipates, boom, you're back in free, clear, clean, sanitized, great smelling. It's Parish Restoration, not just your home, though. Any size commercial building. You need to sanitize a doctor's office, church, school, grocery store, gym, workout facility, anything. parishrestoration.com. parishrestoration.com. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Lane Kiffin has resurfaced on social media. Get to that here in just a smidge. Clemson is in about, let's call it 10 figures of debt, and we'll go around the SEC. We'll do all that. Stick around here. It's AFR.
AFR.
GLO. GlowResources.com. GlowResources.com. Our friends over at Glow Resources, Jareth Nakan and the gang, they're just awesome, man. They're great at what they do because they commit their days every day to helping businesses like yours find the best people, permanent employer solutions. So they're going to help you find the best people for whatever job it is that you're trying to fill. So I always encourage you, log on to glowresources.com, glowresources.com, GLO, glowresources.com. It doesn't matter if you're looking for an employee in Baton Rouge or New Orleans or Houston or Atlanta or Montana or Africa. It doesn't matter. At Glow Resources, they help you find permanent employees, skilled blue-collar labor, any type of office job, up to the C-suite. Log on to glowresources.com to get started today. If you're an employer looking for the candidate for the hard-to-find job, Glow Resources can help. glowresources.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
These fields in the hot summer sun, over by the gate, Lordy, here she comes with a basket full of chicken and a big cold jug of sweet tea. I make a little room and she climbs on up.
Lane Kiffin has resurfaced. Last time we saw him was a photo of him and his nephew, Cookie Kiffin, out on a boat catching some reds, some big reds out there as well. Well, today the guys from Pardon My Take, that's a Barstool thing, posted a photo of 6 a.m. hot yoga, and there's some of the Barstool guys and Lane Kiffin and some ladies there from the hot yoga class. So there's the photo right there. If you're watching with us, if you're not, you can go look at Pardon My Take on Twitter or any of the social media accounts. You can see it there. So looks like Lane is getting his workouts in still, back from his boating excursion. Some people have asked me, like, did LSU tell Lane Kiffin to get off of social media? Not that I've been told. And the Barstool guys, as I understand, were in town today to interview Lane for Pardon My Take. So that episode will drop here soon. After last week, he did the Vanity Fair piece published. So I don't think anybody's telling Lane Kiffin anything. So whatever. Look, man. I'm going to say the thing that everybody knows. When you hired Lane Kiffin, you knew what you were getting. This is it. He's a lightning rod. He's going to say controversial things. When he's not on your side, you love to hate him. When he is on your side, you love him. You take the good with the bad. He's a brilliant offensive coach. That's undeniable. It's going to come with a lot of the other stuff too. The hot yoga, the Twitter, the social media, the everyday. I'm sure there are folks over with sports information and with communications in the athletic department and the university that every day they open their Twitter, open social media, they hold their breath wondering what Lane posted that day. That's just part of the Lane Kiffin experience. I'm not going to complain about it. It's amazing. Every time I put Lane Kiffin's name or face on anything we do, it explodes. So I ain't complaining about it. So he'll go out there and do whatever. So anyway, Lane Kiffin resurfaced today. If you want to see, apparently that Pardon My, as I understand it, they recorded today for Pardon My Take, and that'll drop soon. And when it does, we'll listen to it and see if he says anything interesting, as will, I'm sure, the rest of the college football loving world, notably the people from Oxford, Mississippi, who are just waiting to hate listen to anything Lane Kiffin says, and then we'll laugh at them. All right, it's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us. We are brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing, voted by you the best roofing company in the best of Baton Rouge for 2026. It's a real honor, and we do appreciate everyone who took the time to vote. Earlier in the year, we were voted the best roofing company in the best of Ascension. So we take that very seriously. That is a complete listener, consumer, resident vote. So we appreciate very much everyone who's taken the time to vote, who's given us the opportunity to earn your business over at Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com, ParrishBuilt.com, ParrishBuilt.com. Y'all, we're getting to storm season. So if you find yourself in need of roof repair, roof replacement, and inspection before storm season, ParrishBuilt.com. Go to the website. Commercial, residential, repairs, replacements. We do gutters. We do soft washing as well. So if you want to beautify the exterior of your home or any building. Recently, we completed a soft wash job on the exterior of the LSU basketball practice facility. You know, the statues, the whole practice facility out there. We just soft washed the whole thing. We got some other really fun projects at LSU as well. Potentially a giant cat's home. And we might be soft washing soon as well. That'd be pretty fun. You know, the big cat, big giant cat, maybe one that weighs like 700 pounds that lives on campus. Might be cleaning that one up soon. Looking forward to that. Parrish Built. So, look, we can do that. We do your house. ParrishBuilt.com, ParrishBuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction Roofing, ParrishBuilt.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Offensive lineman William Sanders missed the entire spring with a lower back injury, but the redshirt sophomore says he expects to be good to go when the Crimson Tide began their summer workouts in June. He was on the Gary Harris Show. I have no idea what that is. But Sanders is entering year 3 at Alabama. As a true freshman in 24, played in just 2 games, and then redshirted. Played all 15 games this past season, so should have an even bigger role in 2026.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Tennessee got a commitment from 2027 in-state defensive back we deleted his name here. Just trust me, it's a 2027 in-state defensive back. He picked Tennessee over Florida and Clemson.
The Florida Gators.
Elias Pearl, a 4-star wide receiver, picked the Gators, 5'11", 183, the number 55 overall prospect in the country, the 9th best receiver. He picked the Gators. He's the 16th commit for John Summerall's squad.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
And 4-star cornerback Miles Brown got his name. He picked Kentucky, did so on the Rivals YouTube channel. He's out of Martin, Tennessee. He's a 4-star, the number 233 player in the country. Picked the Wildcats over Tennessee and Louisville. He's the 16th commit for Will Stein's 2027 class. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana, sunequip.com, sunequip.com, sunequip.com. I do want to talk at the top of the hour. I want to give myself enough runway here. I want to talk about what's happening right now with Will Wade and LSU basketball. Because nationally, there are a lot of people who are teeing off on Will Wade. And they might be right to be teeing off on Will Wade. They might not be, but they might be. There's a this guy named Kyle Tucker, who is he's at Kyle Tucker CBB if you want to follow him. He is tweeting a lot right now about Will Wade. And the news that Wade is signing R.J. Lewis, the former Big East Player of the Year from St. John's, who left St. John's, went undrafted, was in the G League. Kyle Tucker, quote tweeted, said, Will Wade is assembling a hilarious roster of objectively ineligible players that is finally the answer to, what if Will Wade had coached LSU when there were no rules at all? Tucker also pointed out, what if every human being in power in the state of Louisiana wanted LSU to get what it wants? Quote tweeting Kevin Sweeney about guidance from NBA and all of the stuff that's going on right now. Jeff Goodman tweeted about Wemby, and Kyle Tucker replied, Will Wade is trying to sign him. Is Wemby available, by the way? Can we check to see if Wemby's available?
He's kind of busy right now in the Western Conference Finals. Maybe after the NBA season.
Everybody's got a price.
There you go.
I mean, he's on a rookie deal.
It's true.
I mean, what's to say that college basketball ain't going to pay more than a rookie deal in the NBA? I do have some thoughts on what Will Wade is doing right now. We'll get to that in about 17 minutes after the top of the hour. We'll knock out a break. Come back. More heavy hitters across college football are planting their flag on the 24-team playoff hill. We'll get to that next. It's AFR.
After further review.
Right about the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Watermark is Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. Voted by you the best hotel in the best of 225. Gorgeous luxury hotel, part of the autograph collection from Marriott Bonvoy. You got to check out Watermark Baton Rouge if you've never been there. Awesome spot to go eat at the Gregory for any meal. They're open for breakfast, lunch, dinner 7 days a week. Sunday, they're open for brunch as well. So maybe you're looking to do some business downtown. Pop in, have lunch at the Gregory inside the Watermark. Maybe after work, if you're downtown, pop on into the Gregory and have a cocktail at the lobby bar there at Watermark Baton Rouge. It's a great spot. And if you got an event coming up, a board meeting, maybe you're planning a wedding reception, whatever type of gathering you may have coming up, man, Watermark Baton Rouge is just the picture of old luxury meets new modern amenities. It's Watermark Baton Rouge downtown at the corner of 3rd and Convention. Watermark Baton Rouge.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She thinks my tractor's sexy. It really turns her on.
Yesterday, Adam Rittenberg was on the show, ESPN college football and Big Ten writer from Ranchos Palos Verdes, California, which is objectively a better place to be on May the 19th than, let's say, Iowa City, Iowa. Can we agree? It's an objective fact.
No, that's true,
I don't
yeah.
think there's really a debate there. Birds chirping, beautiful, sun-kissed ocean views. Yeah, awesome. That's where the Big Ten meetings are happening because nothing screams Big Ten like Rancho Palos Verdes, California. I think my pronunciation was pretty good, too. The accent. Rancho Palos Verdes.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Verdes. Yeah.
You're too sharp on the V. It's Verde.
Yeah.
Verde.
Good thing I speak English. I mean, that's all I got to say there. Yeah.
5 years of Spanish right here, dog. Ruffles and ranches have ridges. Roll those R's. And the V is more like a B, like verde. Verde. Anyway, so Ryan Day And Dan Lanning, head coaches of two pretty prominent college football programs, they are throwing their support publicly behind the 2014 playoff. Ryan Day said, quote, "It's debatable whether 2014 playoff is best for Ohio State. You can go back and forth on that. But it's certainly best for the conference and great for college football in general." I agree. It engages more fan bases late in the season. Also true. Dan Lanning said Ryan Day is in the same situation as Curt Cignetti as well. Similar situation. Is it necessarily best for the program they have been in to say, hey, let's invite more? No. But is it better? What's happened because of the college football playoff is every bowl game has been devalued. The end of the season looks completely different. You're a failure as a coach if you don't make it to the college football playoff. It's going to create more opportunity. Just like March Madness is great in the spring for basketball, it'll be good for our sport. So Ryan Day, Dan Lanning throwing their support publicly behind a 2014 playoff. And they're not wrong to say more is not better for their programs because they are part of the haves. Oregon and Ohio State are part of the select group of haves. You want to stick to 4-12, like Oregon and Ohio State? I mean, they've both made both of the 12-team playoffs. So, yeah, it is objectively better for those schools to have a smaller playoff. It's less inclusive, but they will be more likely part of it because of their history, their brand names, all that sort of stuff. They'll get the benefit of the doubt. But they believe it's better for college football as a whole, which you know where I stand on that. Of course, I agree. It'll make a more, it will not devalue, it will make the regular season more important with more meaningful games later in the season. So you're not playing for the CarQuest Bowl. You're trying to get into a playoff, or you're trying to secure a home game, or you're trying to secure a bye in the first round. Like, there's tons of meaning in those games. Still, Greg Sankey trying to fight the rest of college football. He was on Feinbaum Monday, and he's holding pat at 16.
When we met with our presidents in January, there wasn't enough information to justify just leaping to 24. So contrary, I read an article this morning that said we'd never vote for 24. What you will hear next week is a lot of our coaches, a lot of our athletics directors certainly, and probably some others think 24 is the right direction. What we've said is that could ultimately be the proper direction. We just don't think you leap to that without information. And research and understanding the marketplace informs decisions and should, whether it's 16, which is where we've said is the right direction. A year ago we said, with good rationale, that's the right direction. Right now, that's our position. And we'll see if there's information that leads us in a different way.
He's already starting to soften. Greg Sankey has said pretty directly that 16 is his preferred postseason choice, and he's already starting to soften. It's not never 24. We just need more information about 24. Okay. The door is ajar, even if ever so slightly, which means eventually it will continue to open wide, and we'll get more comfortable with it, and that'll be the direction we go. Whether that's in 2027 or 2028 or whenever it'll be, that's where we are eventually headed. And we are eventually headed there because of things like what's going on with Clemson, who is in a massive and growing amount of debt. I'll tell you about that in just a second. We are brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online, southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Hey, graduation's here. Maybe that high school grad heading off to college, you need to get them their first vehicle. South Point Volkswagen. Maybe the college grad, you want to start them on life with a little bit of a leg up with a new vehicle? South Point Volkswagen. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. You want something safe and affordable? They want something stylish and fun to drive? Check, 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 check. Volkswagen, and manufactured in their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant right here in the good old US of A. It's South Point Volkswagen. Best selection, best prices, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Airline just north of Highland, southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? So according to reports, this was at Yahoo today, Clemson has debt that has now climbed to $1.5 billion, with long-term liabilities closer to $2.65 billion. A big part of that, obviously, is facilities and stadium expansion and all that sort of stuff. And at a time when spending continues to rise, spending is increasing, those debt payments aren't getting smaller, and you need new revenue streams. Look, I'm all for jersey patches, field logos, naming rights to buildings. All that is new revenue. And that will help. But that ain't going to get you out of $1.5 billion of debt. How do you make those debt payments? You better either dramatically reduce expenses or dramatically increase revenue. Surest way to do that, we've talked about it, y'all. TV, private equity. I'm expecting both are going to happen sooner than later. Hour 2 next.
After further review.
Man, I love telling you about Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Hey, remember at Relief Windows, they have those impact resistance, those Storm Force impact resistant windows. You probably have seen those commercials over the year where Brandon Holly's got like a crowbar and he's hitting a window and it won't break. Well, those are those impact resistant windows. They're Cat 5 storm approved in Miami-Dade County. That tells you what type of, like how sturdy those windows are. So the thing I've got to remind you is, number one, that's going to add an extra layer of security from your home, not just from intruders, but also from something like storms, if there's flying debris or anything like that. It'll keep your home and your family more protected. Also, they're energy efficient. So it's going to help lower your energy bills, and they're stylish. So it's going to help increase your home's resale value, lower your energy bills, add an extra layer of security and protection to your home, and they come with a lifetime transferable warranty. ReliefWindows.com.